Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another session inside of Transformation U. Of course, I'm the People's Coach, Coach Jake, and I want to talk to you guys today, well, with this session, about how to find the perfect business partner. How to find the perfect business partner. In a previous segment, we talked about the 6 type of business partners. And just to kind of recap, the 6 type of business partners: equity partner, investor, product partner, executive with financial responsibility, different departments that you may have, vendors, and your whoever you're sharing an office building with or your office space. Is absolutely important for you to understand how important it is for you to understand the different dynamics of partnerships, so that you can formulate your business and grow the business the way that I know that you can, especially when you're dealing with it, because these finding a business partner can deter you from living out your purpose. I'm telling you. And if you are partner with the wrong person, the headache of that person, of that entity, of that company, or of that partnership will be so heavy. The burden will be so heavy on you. It's affecting the way that you're able to deliver um, um, on the other side when you're dealing with you living out your purpose. When you're dealing with you living out of your purpose. So, talking about how to find the perfect business partner, we have 12 key points before that you have to go through before choosing your business partner. 12 key points that you have to go through before choosing your business partner. And on your worksheet, you guys should have this, but don't just use the worksheet. What you need to do is you need to write this down separately. As you guys can see here, I write everything down. Write it down separately so that you can put to work your subconscious mind. Write it, make it plain, make it real, so that you see those things. So, number one, you have to decide what your non-negotiable is. Uh, when we're talking about non-negotiables are things that you just will not compromise on. It's absolutely important. Don't think that you're going to compromise on everything. There are some things that morally and ethically you will not compromise on. And it could change the dynamic, or it could change the momentum of your business if you don't set those standards up in the beginning. I am telling you, I'm not kidding with you at all. That non-negotiable is a make or break. And if you don't set those standards in the beginning because you're hungry for an opportunity, I'll give you guys an example. When I got into business, uh, building my the first portion of my insurance firm, uh, uh, I was extremely thirsty. I was extremely thirsty for an opportunity. I had no consulting gigs for startup businesses, startup direct sales and network marketing companies. I didn't have the energy to be a part of any other companies like that, and I was interested in starting my own, but I didn't know what product I would sell or what business venture I would get into. Partly because I didn't do any of this stuff that I'm teaching you. I didn't purpose find. I didn't go through all of that, which is why I went through a lot of the headache that I did. And I met a business partner that he and I have been acquaintances over the last year and a half. Some of his practices, it was kind of shaky, but overall, he was a great guy. Great guy. Um, but his practices were a bit sketchy. But because I was so thirsty and I needed the money, I need the opportunity, instead of, what an average ordinary person would do, just go get a job until you get on your feet so you can figure it out, because I was in between contracts. I was in between consulting gigs. So I had no income coming in, and I had no proprietary product that was selling in spite of. I had no plan. And we went into business together, and business did phenomenal. Matter of fact, our first weekend together probably did like 25,000, and I allowed the money of the partnership to drive it. And I said, well, I'm a reasonable guy. We can compromise on pretty much everything. I can compromise on some things. And it got to the point to where there was some stuff within our dealings with each other that I just had a strong stand. I just did not want to move. Well, because those things weren't laid out up front in the beginning, it led to a lot of arguments, a lot of sickness, a lot of me being upset, a lot of all of that because I didn't set those standards. It's kind of also like dating. If you don't set your non-negotiables, what you're not willing to compromise on, once it happens, there's a lot of gray. But once you set that black and white standard, and they agree with moving forward, they understand that if this is broken, if this non-negotiable is broken, then everything else doesn't matter anymore. So you have to set your stand of non-negotiables, both of you and your business partner. For you yourself, you have to decide what your non-negotiable is, whether it's been ethically and morally correct at all times, whether it's communicating, whether it's not going 2 days without communicating with each other. Whatever it is, you got to make sure that you set your non-negotiables. Because if you don't set your non-negotiables, these are things that you just will not compromise on. This right here is everything, especially when it has something to do with your morality or your integrity. Because if you decide what you will not compromise on, I'm telling you, I promise you guys, I promise you, it's going to come up, and you're going to have to deal with that in the moment, with your integrity and your morality on point at the checkpoint. And you're going to have to decide, are you going to compromise on your integrity or morality, or are you going to stand firm and possibly lose everything? And that happened to me. I had to stand firm, and I pretty much almost probably lost not probably. I had a partnership with an equity firm, and in the beginning, everything was good, but we didn't set the non-negotiables. And when it came to that point, and I had to let them know what I wouldn't compromise on, and that's my integrity, my morality. I don't function in any source of gray. And he completely cut that stream and that source of income that I needed away from us. And all of the leads, the mail house, everything that we have control over, it was cut because we were not willing to compromise in an area where I deemed as being unethical and he deemed as being ethical. And that disagreement caused the company to be in a weird position. We had to let go of a lot of people and close that function of the business down because 99% of the consultants and the clients that we were getting was because of that partnership. And that's kind of what happens. So you have to set your non-negotiables in the beginning, so there's no oopsies, there's no mistakes, and there's no mishaps. Got it? Good. Second, you guys have to have a common long-term vision. Again, I can just keep giving you guys my mistakes. And this, when you guys have two different long-term visions, it's never going to work because you guys see values differently. Your values, you see values differently. If you have two different long-term visions, it's not the same vision if you have two different long-term. For an example, I didn't take a consulting job with an insurance brokerage that wanted to expand because one owner wanted to sell the company in the next 3 years, and the other owner, wanted to keep the company to pass it down to their kids. Well, then there's a problem because both of them had a 50-50 partnership and equity of the company, and both had a strong standing ground on what they wanted, and they both were successful businessmen separately, but together at that point they had to realize that they weren't good to go into partnership together because of that right there. So we have to make sure we understand that. Number 3, values. Talked about morality. What do you value? Your values are your principles, things that you just will not come. This kind of goes back to that non-negotiable. Your values are what you stand for, what your character is. If your values are different, I'm telling you, it can be hard. Not saying that you couldn't make it work, but your values have to be somewhat similar. Even if you guys are in two different religions, you guys believe two different sources of who God is. If the values of that of self of servitude, a servant, being a servant and serving other people, um, if it's being ethical and moral and being kind and nice and giving and loving and forgiving, if those values are the same, guess what? It doesn't matter the religious belief, as long as those values are the same. If one of your business partners is a womanizer or a manizer, where they're just out there and they just want to do whatever, and you're extremely conservative and you believe in a marriage and you believe in doing the right thing, you believe in saving yourself from marriage, those are two different value points, and that can be the demise of your company. So you got to imagine, you got to think about all of these things that we're going over right now. When your company gets to the level where it cannot afford for this to be a conversation, that can definitely end bad, especially when you have other people depending on you and your company to have it together so they can pay their bills for their family. It's absolutely important that you have that. Number 4. Number 4. We still see that? Number 4. Opposing strengths. You have to make sure that you guys, it's kind of like a seesaw, right? When one side goes up, the other goes down. When the other side goes up, the other goes down. They have opposing forces that are kind of working together to create a seesaw. It's the same thing with your talents, your skills, your strengths. You want business partners that can help you with things that's not technically your strength. For example, I can build websites, I can do designs, I can do logos, I can do all of that. I can do marketing, I can do Facebook ads, but those aren't my strengths. That's not the stuff I care about. As you guys can see, I love teaching, I love educating, I love consulting, I love coaching. That's my joy. It gives me great pleasure to see somebody's business transform. I had a client, he's actually a good friend of mine now. One of my clients is launching another company, and we had a long conversation the night before, maybe up to 2 a.m., giving him coaching on how he should launch his new company idea to the leaders that he's thinking about bringing on. And it was an absolute success. People absolutely loved it. And that's what I love to do. That's my strength. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to find partnerships with people who love to do marketing, who love to do digital, who love to do social media management, who love to do that other stuff. And if I got to pay for that, I have to pay for that, because guess what? That's a part of that partnership. I want people to dig down, anchor down on the stuff that they know for a fact that they're comfortable and they're strong with, so that we can move forward. Clear roles. Everybody has to have a clear role. I would suggest that there's only one CEO. There's only one person who's a visionary, who's a leader in that aspect, and there's one COO. Everybody has to have a clear, definitive role, and everybody's role that you bring onto your team, as far as, especially with your business partners, they can't want to do the other's part. You have to depend on each other to make it happen. So guess what? If your business partner can't be held accountable, if they're not taking care of what they need to take care of, and it's hard for them to keep their word and to stay true to what they said that they will do, guess what? That's probably not a good business partner for you, because for you to have to do your job and their job, you might as well get rid of them and find somebody else that can help you along the way. You want to make sure that your partner and you have clear roles. Get that done in the beginning. Even if it's your wife, even if it's your husband, you guys have to have clear roles. Like, for an example, for my wife and I, AJ and I'm the visionary. I'm the CEO. She's the president. She makes sure that you guys have your paperwork. She is our writer. She takes all this other stuff and the rudiments, the development of everything else. She deals with the processes of things, and I deal with things on a macro level. I'm the teacher. I'm the educator. I'm the motivator. I'm building the content, and she's making sure the content is being delivered. That's just kind of how it goes. But that's our partnership. She's not going to come up and try to be the lead master trainer because that's not her role and this function of the business. Just like we have an event planning company. When she's doing her wedding events and she does an amazing job, I'm second fiddle. I'm the Robin to her in those events, and I'm trying to do whatever I can to make sure that the functioning of her business is absolutely doing phenomenal. Got it? Number 6, again, who gets credit for what? Decide that in the beginning in a business partner. Especially, say for an example, you're trying to start a clothing company and you're trying to look for a partner that will allow you to white label their stuff. Well, that may be a problem because they may not want you to white label. They may want their logo to be on everything so people can know about them. That who gets the credit? It matters a lot. Who's going to get credit for what? For the training and developing and creating the coaching curriculum and all of that. That's me. That's what I get credit for. And then my wife, as far as making sure our events are popping, making sure you guys get your documents, your workbook, our books, our editing, and all of that. That's her. She gets credit for that. And it's that give and take. Our transformation coaches that are part of our team, they get credit for doing their job. Everybody has to get credit for whatever they get credit for, but it can't be a jealous thing because if you don't set that up, that stage up in the beginning, you could possibly deal with a form of jealousy. That's not something that you want to deal with. I can promise you that. Financial status. You want to make sure your business partner is financially capable of going forward in business. That's something that you have to understand. You have to be keep in mind, because if your business partner is struggling to take care of their bills, if they're struggling to deal with their finances, you need to make sure that to double check if that's the business partner you want to go into business with. Because here's the deal: if they're struggling with their finances and you're trying to think about the macro of your business, the long term, the longevity of your business, well, if they're struggling with their finances, they're thinking short term. So they're trying to, as soon as you guys start turning revenue, they're trying to take money out to take care of their bills. You see what I'm saying? So you have to figure out their finances to figure out if they're in the right position to be your business partner. And even if both of you guys are struggling, you still have to understand that you have to understand each other's financial background. You have to understand if you guys are financially stable, so that you know that you may have to work in the mornings and they may have to work in the evenings, for you guys to balance who works what day at what time at what moment, so that you guys can take care of your bills as well as anything else. You have to understand and figure out their financial status so that it won't mess with you guys later on down the line. Purpose. Again, that purpose word comes up. You got to figure out why. I actually think that it should be probably first, but you got to figure out what is their purpose. What are they trying to accomplish with their life? And if both of y'all's purpose don't match up, then that's kind of a problem. Your both of you guys' purpose should be compatible with each other if you guys are going to be business partners, because you have to understand in business there's ups and there's downs. There's some things that you just cannot account for. There's some things that you go through that you're not going to be able to put a number on, or you're not going to be able to work out specifically, and there's going to be some stuff that one idea that you had, y'all put all chips in and it doesn't work, and y'all have to be able to get through those tough storms, because in business it's not always peaches and cream. There's a lot of stuff that I've lost more than I've gained. Our multiple six-figure firm, it revenued a lot, but it doesn't mean we profited a lot. There's a lot of mistakes that happen in the field that you don't account for, and your business partner has to be able to have the same purpose that if their purpose is the same, then it's really not about the money. It's about the impact that you're making with other people. Number 9, what is their schedule? Do they have enough time to be able to go all in with you? Do they have enough time to be able to put enough time in for you guys to really develop this? Or are they, are they just going to give 3 hours a week to this company, ask for 50% of it, and you're doing 100% of the work because, they're only giving 3 hours? Got to understand their schedule. I think this is probably self-explanatory. Partner, you got to partner up. What do we mean by partner up? Partner up means you got to partner with somebody that could be potentially better than you. Don't partner up because you want somebody to be a yes man. Partner up because you want somebody to be a part of your success team. You're not looking to be a mentor. You're looking to be a partner. So you got to find somebody where you feel like is a level up, that's on top of their game. And if you had to give it to anybody, you'll give it to them because you know that they can outwork you possibly or whatever. Because when you build a business or an organization, it's all about team. How can you guys work together as a team to be able to get each other to the next level? Number 11, track record. Your track record. You want to make sure that they got a good track record, which is their character. It doesn't mean necessarily as far as making money or profit or anything like that. It has everything to do with a track record. It has everything to do with their track record. It has everything to do with their track record. You need to ask friends, ask family, which goes to the 12. Meet team or family. Meet people that know them, that know if they're a liar, if they're a stealer, that knows their character, that knows how they perform in business. Do they just start something? Do they quit? These are all things you have to take into account before finding a business partner, more than just, oh, I like them, I think they'll be good because they can do this. Because just because they can do that doesn't mean they get any of these in order. So know their track record, know what they can do and how long they've been doing it, how consistent they've been at doing it. And then meet their team, people that they already work with. And so if you're going to partner with a vendor, you're going to partner with the legal team, meet their team, ask them what are their true feelings about such and such, and ask, as if, you're somebody else. If they already know you, you got to figure out a way how to find out who that person is, because that's the only way that you can really judge their character. And then when you meet that family, how that person handles their family, or how they feel insecure to their family, or how they feel like they always have to prove themselves to their family, will let you know if that's a partner that you want to work with. I had a business partner who always felt like they had to prove themselves to their father, and they had to prove themselves to this, had to prove themselves here. So they were dealing with a lot of ego issues, which always led to us doing crazy stuff because he wanted to prove that he was good enough in his family, and that's never a good place to be in business. So guys, this is your 12 key points. Go through those 12 key points. Everybody that you're deciding or you're thinking to bring onto your team or as a business partner, have them go through these 12 steps, these key points. And you're going to realize how important it is. So we're just going to recap the 12 key points before choosing a business partner. 1, find your non-negotiables. 2, have a common long-term vision. 3, find out if you guys have the same values, morality, principles in life. 5, have clear roles. 4, opposing strengths. 6, who gets credit. 7, financial status. Are they financially stable? 8, what is their purpose? What is their purpose? 9, schedule. 10, partner up. Find somebody that you may even be better than you at whatever you're trying to get them to do. 11, do they have a consistent track record of success? And 12, have you met their team? Have you met their family? Find out if you actually like them before you move on with them. So guys, that was it for this session here. Next session, we're going to talk about the pros and cons of growing and scaling your business. The pros and the cons of growing and scaling your business. We're going to talk about what happened to me in my business when I scaled up and I wasn't fully prepared for the scale up. And I think that you guys are almost about ready to get into how to develop a killer product, system, or a service to be able to package your purpose and package what you have to bring to the world to make the world a better place. So until next time, guys, this is Coach Jake, and I'll see you guys on the very next session. Peace.